Anne Lamott says there's really only 3 prayers you'll ever need. Wow, thank you, and help me. Last week we prayed our prayers of wow. Next week we'll share our stories and our prayers of thank you. This week we will share our prayers of help me. I had a pastor in college who loved to quote John 10:10, which says that Jesus came to give us life and that abundantly. And my pastor would emphasize abundantly by jumping up and down and waving his hands in the air and looking like he was somehow drowning on the land at the pulpit. Abundant life is wild. He said that the prosperity gospel was a crock, or maybe not a crock, but it was a gross misunderstanding of what prosperity actually is. He said that he had known many faithful people who called the Lord their help, people who called the Eternal One, as our passage today says, an ever-present help in trouble. He said he had known many deep and wonderful people who were excellent at the work of being still and knowing that God is God, but they still had trouble. They still had a need for stillness. They still had a storm in their lives. They still had abundant life that is wild life that still cries out, help me. Like the saying goes, may your times be interesting. And as my heart has echoed, sometimes, no thank you. Jesus gives us abundant life, and sometimes we want to say, no thank you. I know that over the last year and a half, I have found my times to be incredibly interesting. And I have heard my heart weeping, no thank you. Jesus said to the Eternal One, if you would, take this cup from me. And Jesus' disciples were once on a stormy boat, terrified for their lives, shouting at Jesus and asking why he had not spared them the storm. And he did not answer that question. He only said, peace, be still. And the psalmist speaks of quaking mountains and failing earth and warring people. And the psalmist says, somehow, be still and know that I am God. Our times have been interesting. Our lives have been abundant. And like the disciples in the storm and like the people who lived in the times of Psalm 46, we cry a guttural prayer, help me. Sometimes the help is obvious and the water stills. Sometimes the help is not obvious. Our souls somehow still as the water rages. Sometimes the help is imperceptible, so we keep praying and praying and praying, help me, help me, help me. And we trust that as Psalm 46 was true millennia ago, it can be true again, even if we can't see it yet. Help me. So we keep praying as our breath fails us. Help me, help me, help me. And so today we come together to share our stories of help me. Maybe they are stories with clear beginnings and wrapped up endings with no season 2 cliffhangers. Maybe they are stories of how we found our peace through the storm, but the storm kept raging and keeps raging. Maybe they are stories that we are still in the middle of, and maybe at this exact moment your heart is still crying out, help me. As you reach to connect with the Spirit who is speaking, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know. Be still. Be. And your story is unfinished. Regardless, let us come and share our stories of help me.